Hi, welcome to Focus Demo webinar. In this session, we will be presenting Procurement Management System, which is part of our comprehensive cloud-based ERP. So before we dive into the product Procurement Management System, we will just have a look at our architecture of the product called Focus 9. So here you can see on the slide, Focus 9 is a web-based application. It is accessible on the web through various web clients like Chrome, Explorer, Firefox, etc. And similarly, the mobile app functionality is available for call for action functions, for example, similarly, reports and transactions specific to the query-based transactions. Database is SQL Server for Focus 9, and Focus 9 comes up with a Pronghorn server enability, which churns the data, which helps users to churn the data in by using in-memory computing and avoids the latency when it comes to fulfilling the data needs in just-in-time manner. So the topic of the day, procurement management for digital era. Well, procurement management system has been an integral part of any organization which works on fulfillment with within the organization for within the organization users or outside. So in such a drive, it is important for a solution to be capable of handling everything right from the requisition to the fulfillment to the delivery and to the transfers digitally. So that's where Focus 9 comes in play, wherein it has all the capabilities and functionalities which makes the users on board to work from anywhere and everywhere, for that matter, from home or from office, and perform their functions or perform their duties digitally on the platform. And all the call for action notifications are happening from the platform over the email, and notifications as well as approvals are happening from the emails. So that's where we position our product as fully compliant e-procurement solution as far as the module is concerned. So let's get into the very basic workflow of a process life cycle, I would say, wherein which is generally same for most of the organizations or most of the businesses, be it inbound fulfillment or be it for the outbound fulfillment. In most of the scenarios, it remains the same. Employee makes a request, which is a PR process, and then subsequently a PR gets approved by the department head and moves on to the next level to the centralized procurement team, and then centralized procurement team possibly takes over with various vendors or listed vendors. Then you possibly have the quotation analysis. Based on the quotation analysis, on validated based on lead time or based on the prices or based on the payment terms or discounts, you have a selection process which is being comprehensively intuited within the system, and a selection of a vendor is being done by the procurement team. Vendor PO is being sent digitally, and then subsequently you have a GRN, which is a goods receipt note from the supplier. Then you have an invoicing and the payment week followed, while the GRN can be one to many, many to one, etc. All those are a standard process life cycle for a procurement system. So what we are trying to do in today's session is keeping the same workflow as the basis, or the generic workflow as the basis of our uh, fitment or product fitment. We'll just navigate through how it happens in the product. So this is this is a simple workflow which is aligned as per the product. So you have users, wherein you can see on the platform. When I'm in the next steps, I'll be moving on to the platform. So here is a PR initiator by name user Jacob, and then he receives or the next user receives an email or an alert. Then he approves, which is approved by John, and then once the John approves a PR, it goes to a PR approval alert through uh, procurement team, and subsequently based on that approval, procurement team moves forward with uh, PO processing, which is generating the PO, creating the PO, converting the PO, etc. And then subsequently, if at all required, you can have another process of PO approval. Depending on the organization, depending on the workflow requirements, you can also initiate an approval process for the PO as well. Then subsequently, it is issuing the PO and sending the PO to the supplier by email. So let's dive into the platform now and have a look at all, rather, this sequence of events happening on the platform seamlessly. So here is the platform. You can see on the screen, this is the look and feel. When you log in, you can log in like this on the web. And let's say I log in as Jacob. Oh, it's already open. So when Jacob logs in, let it open. When Jacob logs in, he can possibly see the screens like this, or there is a functionality of dashboard, which is basically a PR dashboard, purchase request dashboard. Being a user, he is able to see the performance or the purchases by departments. Being a user, being a PR initiator, he might be able to see top 5 products, possibly related to their department or his department. And similarly, at the same time, he's also able to see what are the PRs or the status of the PR as a register in a register form with details of what is it closed, is it linked, etc. Means what is open, what is closed, etc. So these are software terminologies, linked and closed, basically. Now let's get into the flow. Let's assume that Jacob is creating a PR. Well, you can search, you can just see the screen. The look and feel of the screen is like this. You can do a simplified user experiences in such a way that you can select from here directly as centralized purchase request, or you can navigate from here as well. You can see a procurement menu like this, and standard transactions you can do from here also. For now, I'm convenient doing from here. So I'll just select centralized purchase request. So this is the landing page of centralized purchase request, wherein you can see a summary view of what all transactions have been posted, created by, modified information, the modification in date, etc., the created time, modified time, and more importantly, all the transactions with a status, whether they have been authorized or in pending. You can see there are a few of them which are in the pending stage also. So let's now get into a new PR. So here you can see a document number which is following a series or a sequence. A document numbering sequence is followed based on the department. Let's say this particular department is 100. So the moment I select 100, the document number changes. It takes the first 3 digits depending on the rules defined for the by the organization. So this is an example. Then it is a requested by, let's say, a particular user requested by. Then you have a narration, you have a header remark, certain details like that. Then the important aspect of the system here on validations, on mapping or linking or dependencies, you have something called as category, wherein you can see list of categories being outlined in the platform, and based on the list of category selection, only those specific items are getting selected. So for example, when I select the category as 100, which is procurement stock item, I would be able to see list of, for example, 3 items. So this means they are all stock items. They are SKU, stock keeping units possibly. So for instance, I select this item and let's say HP ink cartridge, let's say 50 pieces I define. Then in the second example, I'll select non-stock item, which could be something which is non-stock, let's say heavy duty battery. I'm just selecting something. It's, let's say, 20 pieces. Then I'll select another stock item only. Binder clip something. Pieces, let's say 10 pieces. So this is how simple you have the selection. The moment you select the number, it will populate the search based on that. So the user experience remains quite seamless and quite flexible in the sense that you don't remember a specific number. You can just type function plus F5. It will load the details. Like for example, if I want to search binder, I can just click on this and you will see binder. If I want to search all the items of a category, for example, I'll just say select category and refresh. It can put forward various definitions also. Let's say I think it is already in the binder in this category only. So like that, you can select the details. So if you have thousands of items, it would be more sensible to do a F5 search. Otherwise, you can search based on a default search also. Now, this PR is supposed to be on for a fulfillment for a particular customer. So in that particular context, you need to have this PR is for which shipping name. For instance, this is for a customer like this. The moment I select the customer name, the address details are loaded automatically. You can see this, the details of customer, if at all, whatever the details are there in the master, which is a fulfillment master. The moment it is being typed, it will be coming over here automatically. So basically, Jacob is a facilitator who's responsible, who's basically representing a responsibility center, and he is going to fulfill for a particular customer. So that is where the centralized purchase context comes in play. So in effect, if all done and good to go, Jacob now saves the transaction. So voucher is saved. Now automatically the next level user as per the presentation is John, who would be receiving a notification on the system so that he can go and possibly create a or make the approval. Or he can also receive an email stating like this, as you can see as Outlook, 100222020 requires your approval, because I have changed the email ID to my ID for John. So that is how I am receiving the email like this. I'll click here. Now over here you can see a request for authorization, all the details which are, you can customize this print design as well. So these are the item numbers or item names. I've selected binder clip, etc. At this point of time, instead of me hopping onto the system or logging into the system, I can do a direct approval from here as well. So the product is quite flexible enough to allow you to do approvals from the emails as well, or you can log into the system and do the approval. So I'll rather do the approval from the email. So let's say I'll just click on this. So you have approved the requested document. Basically, John has approved the transaction. So in this way, now when I go back to the request, for instance, over here, you can see the status is now changed to authorized and approved by John. So now at this point of time, I can possibly take it to the next step, which is purchase order. So assuming Jacob can raise the purchase order, or else procurement team can raise the purchase order. In this example, I'm raising the purchase order as being Jacob. So I go to centralized purchase order. Now there is no need for Jacob to retype all the details of the purchase order. All he needs to do is click on this pending centralized purchase request, which will populate all the authorized ones over here. You can see this is example number 11. He can just click on this. All the details related to the purchase order based on the selection process by the supplier team or the procurement team, you can select the supplier from here. Let's say, for example, I'm selecting MAM, SD, and BHD as the supplier. And over here, if you notice below, the details related to the category, the item, the quantity, the link of the PR, etc. is loaded. Now at this point of time, you can have partial POs, you can have POs which can be, sorry, we can have POs, you can have POs which can be partial in the sense that the request was for 50 and you want to make it for 30. You can do one to many, many to one. All these are possible in the platform. So now moving on. So while the fulfillment is being done in the previous stage, at this in the purchase order stage, you would want to verify the address details of this supplier. So here is the supplier info, and I click here. It gives me the details of the supplier address. All the details related to the supplier is coming over here directly. Over here, I can put some remarks like test PO remarks, for example, header test remarks, for example. So like that, at this point of time, either the price list can come automatically, or in this scenario, we are keeping it manual. So this can be updated manually, or it can load from the price list. If we follow a comprehensive purchase quotation, request for quote, etc., then it will load automatically. But because this being a very standard presentation, we are keeping it a manual price update. But you have a buy in price book and the comprehensive quotation analysis, which we are not touching in this session. So here, it is being done, and then basically the procurement team can just say save or print the purchase order. So for example, if it is to be printed, or rather I'll just go here again. So here I can directly send the PO to the supplier by email. That is available as functionality on the platform, wherein I don't need to print it and send it as a PDF and go back to Outlook and attach, etc. So there is obviously a problem of consistency as well as transparency. So you can directly send the email from the platform. So I'll just select email. I've just taken my email as the email ID, as otherwise it can list from the vendor master. So I'm just saying send. So the email has been sent, mail sent successfully. Let me just get into that. So you can see the email coming in just now. This is the purchase request, so and so the number. You can have the text also. So this is the form of a email which is being received by the supplier. This can be customized, this can be configured comprehensively. This is a very brief demo of how a purchase order will look like. You can have various forms of purchase order, various designs of purchase order that can be customized depending on the business requirement, which will be spelled out during the next sessions. So this is how the purchase order is being completed. So as far as this part of the flow, issue PO, this part is completed as procurement workflow. Now let's go into the next part, which is linkage with inventory or stock management. So in this, the first and foremost step after the purchase order obviously would be the GRN, which is once the goods are received, you go as into the GRN screen. A user Alex will go to the GRN screen, and if at all it requires an approval, he updates the GRN, and then it can go for an approval before the stock update. Optional as per the workflow, and then it will go as a notification that the GRN has been received and the stock is in the system. So it can go as a approval notification back to the initiator also. Then you have a pending PO listing and a three-way matching against PR, PO, and the GRN. So let's do that with Alex login. Let me log out with from Jacob. Jacob's login. Basically, then I will log in as Alex. So when LX logs in, there is no dashboard because there is no dashboard defined for LX, and he can see only inventory menu. He can see this. He's able to see only goods received. So here you can select also from here, centralized goods received, and then it goes here. So if he's receiving the items, let's say today itself, you just go to pending centralized purchase order. You can see this. This is the number 5/1646. This has been raised. So here you can just double click on this. All the details of the purchase order are loaded, including supplier information also. Then similarly, at this point of time, ideally what LX would be updating is where he's receiving. For example, he's receiving in Bangsar main store, Shalam, or etc. Let's say, for example, he's receiving in Bangsar main store, and if at all he's receiving partial receive. For example, instead of 50, he's receiving 30, and instead of 20, he's receiving 15. So basically, 20 is pending for the next receiving next shipment, as well as 5 is pending for the next shipment. So next time it will show 5 and 20 as balance, while this last one binder clip will not come under selection. Basically, you can have one PO, many shipments, or many GRNs. Similarly, one GRN, multiple POs also. Like for we want to consolidate, let's say 4 POs of MAM, SD, and BHD and create one GRN. You can do that as well on the platform. So here, the moment a goods receive is done, just say save. At this moment, the stock is getting updated as per the workflow on this particular database. So you can have controls because it is straight away authorized. As you can see, straight away authorized means it will go to the stock and it will be shown in the stock register. On the same note, the next process which LX would do, obviously, because this is the first part being done, the stock has come inside the warehouse. Now the next thing, which is the ultimate objective, is fulfillment or supply or shipping to the respective delivery address. So for that to happen, you have stock outward flow, which works like this: GIR, which is goods issue request, which can be done by the PR team, the procurement team, or the PR initiator, depending on the requirement. In this example, we are taking LX. And then you have a GIR approval, which could be again following based on the workflow. And then you have a GIV, which is goods issue voucher, followed by stock ledger information. So let's follow this with LX login only. So goods issue transaction. In the goods issued request, first of all, as mentioned in the slide, goods issue request. There are already 2 of them, so I'll follow directly a goods issue voucher based on the GIR. So here it will show me all the pending GIR available. So here you can see this is all. This is one is still not being fulfilled or not being shipped. So I'll just double click this. So here is the details. Here is the details wherein you can see all the details related to the customer, to which customer this is supposed to be going, and to which responsibility center. This could be different also. And what is the delivery location? There can be multiple delivery locations for the same customer. Let's say Bangsar one location, then PJ another location, etc., etc. You can have multiple locations. In this example, it is all the same. So it can be same or it can be different. And then from which location it is issuing, it will say, it will select. And then similarly, it will also display the fulfillment, which is, I'm taking the same example. So like this, it will take the fulfillment, goods issue voucher. And if at all, as an additional free text, you can put courier shipping number, let's say MA. Sorry. Something like this. Okay, like this, it can be saved now. So basically the stop, basically the process of PO, the process of GRN, and the process of goods issue stands completed at this point of time. So this is how simple the workflow is as far as the platform is concerned. Let me log in back as Jacob. And to show possibly other areas of MIS, which is the reporting area. I think I'll just load this. So in this, there are several reports which can be obtained based on the few of the transactions which we have done just now. So for some of them would follow like this. Example could be, there are various categorization in the reports also. You have procurement reports, then you have inventory reports, and then you have fulfillment reports. For example, orders which have not been fulfilled or which have not been shipped more than 30 days, etc., are age reports. Similarly, orders which are open partially, or orders which are open partially since last 40 days, for example. So all those type of reports are available in the various sections in the system, which one of them is order management. You can see analysis of linked documents, purchase orders, etc. Let me take a very simple report, which is purchase order report. So this is a look and feel of the report. In the purchase order, I'll just say select current month. So here, when we take the report, you can take the report on from and to with these criteria as on date range, and current month only, this week, etc. And all the reports which are available are possible to be taken in following outputs: screen, printer, Excel, etc. And you can just say OK. So this is the output, or the screen output of the PO report, which you can see is aligned to a particular set of guidelines of the report. You can see the requested by, shipping name, customer or supplier for that matter, category code, item name, then the quantity, rate and gross. So on this particular note, I would like to stress, or I would like to highlight the buttons above, which is, you can see refresh, print, export, graph, backtrack, filter, etc. Let's try to go individually. Graph, for instance, I'll just click on graph. Let's say I want to take it by pie graph for the sake of discussion, or bar. So it changes the presentation like this. So this is our BI element, which is part of the product and which comes with a built-in BI tool and helps you in making the data presentable in multiple manner, and you can have a readily graphical or a statistical information of a particular long report in a summarized form for your various meeting or analysis. Then subsequently you have filter, which is for example, I want to filter, for instance, I'll just do it from here. Before going to the report, let's say I want to filter by a vendor. Let's say I want to see only supply POs of MAM. So like that I can filter. Similarly, if I want to add more filters to my criteria or search criteria, we can go here. For one time, we can just make this so that next time onwards it will be available. Let's say I want to take it by delivery location. So you can see one more new filter has been added. So now you can take the combinations also. So for example, MAM and 200 department. So let's say it will populate the data only validating to this particular condition. So there is no data anyways. So I'll just change that. I was not. So I'll just say MAM. So you can see it has filtered only for MAM at the moment. So likewise, you can filter the data. You can see all the PO owner is only 100. That is the reason 200 was not populated. So like that, you can have filtrations being done in the system in this manner. Another function which is very useful for businesses or procurement teams could be, let me just go back to the report, same report again. Another function which could be very useful when it comes to procurement requirement, as well as for the analysis and review of suppliers and their pricing, could be analyze function. When I click on this, let's say for example I want to analyze an item's pricing across suppliers over a period of time. So let's say I take item in a row, I take supplier in a column, and I take the rate in a column measure. So you can see very clearly on the screen, binder clip was quoted by MAM, SD and BSD at $28 or 28 RM, whereas with Focus Softnet it was 8. Likewise, you can compare between the vendors. So this is one very simple example. You can have various comparisons which could be so this can be one of the function which can be utilized in multiple requirements or in various scenarios. So for example, we can put another measure could be your shipping name, for instance. So here you can see, or rather I would change it in a different manner. I'll try to bring in the shipping first, then item next. You can see the shipping details. This is the shipping name or the customer name or the fulfillment details. And you can see the, for BFM, it's only from MAM only. It has not gone to another shipment. So like that, you can analyze the reports which are available on the platform. So there is one more analyzed report which has been saved. For instance, here there is a purchase or procurement PO report which is being mentioned here. I think I've taken a long period. I'll just change it to current month. So you can see this is the same example. You can see Focus Software SD and BSD, the rates for various items on the top. Now the items and then the quantity and the rate. Items, quantity, and the rate. Likewise, it can go. So this is a very simple example, and you can create it as a save as report so that it is referable anytime as per the business requirement. Similarly, on that note, you have other reports which are purchase order listing. This could be another example. So I'm taking an example of purchase order. It can be for any transaction set, be it for PR, be it for GRN, for anything. You can get the same kind of reporting. So these are the examples of various reports which are available in the platform. And you can see across reports, you have the same functions. You can see the filter. In this example, the filter is category, vendor, shipping name, purchase order number, PO creation date, PO owner. So you can filter either on one or on combination of multiple. Like for example, if I want to filter for MAM, SD and BSD and shipping name, let's say Focus Softnet or Siarika Takaful, for example, and PO number only, for instance. So like that, you can do this kind of filtrations. Moving on to the next step, which is inventory, which is the stock update. You can see the item being received and being shipped out. For instance, I'll just select inventory items. I'll take So there is a lot of movement anyway. So you can see these items, binder clips, which we have received and then we have shipped out also. So you can see 20 pieces received and 20 pieces shipped out. Likewise, you can see also. Now, if there is any partial also, you can do a partial shipment as well, depending on the usage. And if at all you are not going to receive them, you have the provision to close the link or terminate the purchase order after, let's say, 40% or 50% of receiving. So those are the admin functions which can be demonstrated later. So this is how the stock ledger and various reports in the stock module is also available, be it from stock module reporting for instance, fast moving, slow moving, and similarly for aging analysis, etc. All those reports are available. Now, another important aspect of our platform when it comes to replenishment, when it comes to reorder management, there are two default functions which are available in an MRP perspective, in the sense from the stock MRP perspective, which is virtual stock, which gives you a fair idea or fair information of at any given point of time, fair information of how much is in stock, what is in the order, what is on the supply, or what is on the fulfillment, and then subsequently what would be the virtual stock against a reorder. So this is an example, you can see it on the screen. I think I've taken so it did a calculation actually. So you can see the category. This is a column which I have to change from here to there. That was customized. So here you can see the stock, the pending POs, which is on hand POs, basically the virtual stock, and then the reorder level. In this example, the virtual is like this. The virtual stock is 90. The reorder level is set as 60. So basically the check is nothing but the 30 pieces is short. So if you want to raise an order, you can raise the order basically. So this is a very report view as a virtual stock. Now, if you want to raise the indents for items which is less than the stock, we have a function here in the reports, raise indents for items with low stock. So here, include purchase orders, let's say, select inventory group only. It can allow you to select the item and raise the PO. So this is how you can auto replenish or do a cycle count based, basically the indents or POs for items with low stock or not matching with the reorder points or the minimum stock quantities. So that's in brief as far as the procurement is concerned. A very simple flow of procurement is concerned. The product has comprehensive capabilities. Furthermore, obviously, right from quotation analysis to request for quote to possibly blanket POs, drop shipments, all these functionalities are also part of the system, and that can be discussed based on the further level discussions also. So that's it from now. Thank you.